Hello and welcome to Smash Writing. Once again, we're on the road to the finish line. Our first encounter with a Hell Priest that is not Doug Bradley. We'll talk about that. Ah, Um, but in the meantime, let's talk about Hellraiser Revelations, shall we? This movie opens up with two guys recording each other on like a little shaky handheld camera. Nico and Steven. Nico is driving, I believe, and Steven is recording. And Steven believes they're going to Disneyland. They're not going to Disneyland. They're going to Tijuana to drink and get laid and party and hopefully not get caught. And then it jumps to a scene where the car is stolen and gone. Then it jumps again to Nico solving the box. And we get a brief glimpse of the new Hell Priest. And then it pans out to show Steven's mom is watching the handheld camera now. And Nico and Steven are presumed. No, if you watch the video, they're dead, but some of them are still holding on to hope, as we see when we meet Nico's parents. And Steven's sister, Nico's girlfriend. Some of them believe that they could still be alive. Well, others believe that they're gone for good and they should just move on, kind of deal, not talk about it at all. Which pisses off Emma, who does not want to talk. She wants answers, obviously. And none of the parents will talk about it. They won't talk about what the private investigator found. They won't talk about what's on the videotape. And it's starting to piss her off a little bit. And meanwhile, we get glimpses of the other world, like they're listening in on the conversation. And we see the one being tortured, and we see a little tiny, who I will call Pinhead, for lack of a better answer. I'm not going to call him the little priest. We'll call him Little Pinhead. But Emma goes into the room, and she's digging through the bag, and she finds the box, and first she finds the video camera. And she's starting to watch, and we see a little bit more about their Tijuana trip and how they're obnoxiously picking up this woman who can't really understand them because she doesn't speak English. And it ends with Nico sleeping, having sex with her in the bathroom stall, and Steven's pissed because, like, you stole my girlfriend, you always do this, and he passes out on the floor. And in disgust, she closes the camera. But we stay with the boys. And we find out what probably made her turn off that camera was what the camera picked up on, and that was the woman being killed by Nico. Because she's dead, and Nico's like, I don't remember, it was an accident, she must have hit her head. But as we find out, he's just psychotic. But Steven wants to go to the police, and he's like, no, we're not doing that. And Steven's going to delete from the camera because the camera picked up everything and when he was passed out on the floor. But Nico's like, no, you're not doing that either, because this is me making sure you don't run to the cops. Back with Emma, she does find the lament configuration in the bag. And again, it really seems like the Pearl Priest and them can hear what's being said outside of the box. And we see that the parents are 50-50 on the situation. Obviously, Emma storms outside, and she starts to open the box. And we get a flash of torture going on. And Steven appears behind her. He's shaking and quivering, all messed up. And the phone lines are cut. The cars are gone. So they're not going to be able to go out anywhere. And Nico is nowhere to be found because they're screaming for him, but he's nowhere. And he's not in any shape to answer any questions right now until he gets some sleep. So they lock the doors, and Steven's dad is getting his gun ready to fight whatever might be screwing with them out there. And meanwhile, while that's all going on, we see the Hell Priest is like working on the little Pinhead, like putting pieces of flesh on his head and putting pins in. And then we jump back and we see Emma trying to open the box again. And she slides a corner and the house starts to shake and the lights are flickering. And when it comes back, when everything stops, Steven's gone again. But they find him pretty quickly, standing outside in the backyard. And he's talking about the priest and the Cenobites are going to come soon. And we go back to a different club. They're not leaving Mexico for some reason. I'd be hightailing it the hell out of Mexico. Nico seems to think that they'll never be able to find it because there's not going to be any fingerprint. There'll be thousands of fingerprints in that stall. Like there wouldn't be fingerprints on her body or anything. But they're just going to hide out in Mexico and hope this all blows over. But this homeless looking man, sits down and he offers them the box for the ultimate pleasures. And not for sale. It's all his. It always was. We see Steven just wants to bail out. He wants to leave. And Nico calls him weak and go get that camera. I want to record me opening the box just in case something cool happens. And we already know what happens. They come and they take them. Steven's back with Steven. He tells them that Nico wanted to stay. It jumps back and we see Steven is tattered and battered and kind of deal, and he stumbles across a sex worker who he's like $100 and we'll go back to my place, and he's like, yeah, sure. And while they're together, we see that he's hearing Nico's voice from the box. Tell him he needs blood. I need blood to escape. So Steve bashes her with the cube, and he rises out of the bed and finishes her off, telling Steve, I need more blood. You need to get me more blood. Back at the house, they get him back in the bed kind of deal. And at this point, I'm starting to suspect that Steve is Nico. And this is kind of we're dealing with a reverse situation from Hellraiser 1. That's what I'm suspecting at this point, which is like 40 minutes into this movie. This is a long hour and 15 minutes. And Emma goes into a little bit of detail about the box whenever Nico's dad is struggling to get it open. She's like, you can't force it. The box wants to be opened, but you have to want to open it, or else you're never going to be able to open this box. Then you get like a weird little moment between Emma and Nico's dad, for some reason, as she's taking soup up to Steven. And then that gets weird, because at this point you can tell, really tell that this is Nico and Steven's skin here. But she still thinks it's her brother, and does not shy away from making out with him and being felt up by him. Until she gets a weird flash of torture, and that backs her off and she leaves the room. Like, why is that scene needed in this movie? At all. It's not needed. At all! Anyway, Nico's dad suggests that they go out and they start looking to see if there's actually anyone out there, or if they can make a break for the road. And they go out there and they don't really look, but they go, okay, it's all clear. So they go back to the house, and it's the homeless man again. And he's like, they know he's here. They'll be here soon. And Nico's dad is like, okay, whatever, and shoots him with the gun, which does nothing to him. And I think he cuts his, this is one of three things. He either scalps him, he scalps his forehead, or he skins his face. I can't tell, because they just sprayed him with a bunch of blood. They won't hold the camera still, and everyone is freaking out around him as he's being pulled into the house to die a few moments later. So, he cuts something, and kills him. I just don't know what. They're all freaked out inside, and you see someone pick up the gun, and it's Steven, who shoots his dad. Only it's not. It's Nico. Then we see, back to Mexico, Steven picks up another sex worker, and the skinless Nico's following. And he's about to take her out until he hears the baby crying, and he realizes she's a mother. So Steven doesn't want to do it. And he's like, if you don't want to, I'm not doing it, you do it. Nico finishes her off while Steve is pouting in the hallway. But you're still on the hook for this, buddy. Especially when he takes out the baby next. But Steve's done at this point. He's not helping him. So Nico hits him in the head and cuts all of the skin off. And he leaves him there skinless. And he's still alive somehow. But he grabs the box. As we see his hand grab the box. And Nico in Steve's skin has this idea. He is after exposing all these secrets and everything. Like his mom has been sleeping with uh, Steven's dad's mom, and it goes on this stupid ass speech, just dumb. But his big brain idea is he's going to make Emma open the box, and he's going to trade her for him, so he doesn't have to worry about them finding him. Alright, get the box. She opens the box. They come, and the mom, Nico's mom, won't stop talking, so he takes her out for reasons. The little pinhead turns out that's Steven, and Nico offers the trade. Hey, I want to do this for this, and he's like, no, you're coming with me, Nico. She is carrying the germ of yours in her belly, and in time, she's going to come to us anyways. But before he can finish this, the dad decides, if anyone's going to shoot him, it's going to be me. So he shoots him and pisses off the Hell Priest to no end. He's like, how dare you? That suffering was good suffering, and it was supposed to last forever. And it was mine, and you cost me that? I don't want you either, because you're going to die soon as it is. And the remaining years of the minutes remaining in your life are going to know that I'm taking your wife. So he takes the wife, and he sends Emma and the dad back out. The dad dies almost immediately. Emma looks at the camera, gets ready to open the box again, and we cut to black. And that is Hellraiser Revelations. The positives of this movie is I didn't mind this idea, right, of another guy who's actually on the run, kind of like Frank. Frank was on the run, but he wasn't really on the run. He never made it out of the house. So it was a neat idea of like this guy got his friend, he's got skin, and he's on the run now, and now he's got to try to figure out how to get out of this. That was a good idea. I liked this idea of, because we see how easy this box is to open. And like, Hellworld, he got that open just like, doop, boop, done. So I did like the idea of like, it's a lot more than skill to open this box. Like, you really want to have to open this box in a way. But, actually, the more I think of it, more and more I'm changing my mind now. Because Kirsty didn't really, like, she wanted to open the box, but she didn't know what she was getting into. So that whole idea of, like... No, you know what, it's fine, it's a good idea. Because she did want to open the box. Okay, I'm going to go into a neutral idea. I'm kind of neutral on the Stephen A. Smith I call him Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, that's not who this is. This is Stephen Smith Collins. Stephen A. Smith probably would have been better. But Stephen Smith Collins, on the other hand, just wasn't, he was fine. I mean, he wasn't bad. He wasn't the worst. Like, I get it. He's got to follow some massive ass shoes here. He wasn't going to supersede what Doug Bradley did. But I also don't think he was awful. His makeup looked bad, but I don't think he was terrible. I'm not going to browbeat him any more than what people probably already browbeat him for. And, okay, that's the end of the positives and mixed stuff, the negative stuff up. Oh, the dialogue in this movie is atrocious. They gave a lot of lines like the priest had throughout the various movies, or like renditions of his lines to Stephen. And, but he lacked... No, some of it was the priest, and some of the lines were Frank's. But he has none of their charisma. It's sucked out of him. And it is dull as hell, or stupid as hell. And definitely needed to be rewritten and re-looked at it quite a few more times. It seemed like rough draft kind of dialogue going on in this movie. I don't understand why you had Emma making out with her brother. That was, like, there was no hinting that she was into that kind of thing. Like, why? Why do this? The theory was not, the twist Oh, that's Nico. Like, yeah, I saw that coming pretty quick. That was not. No, that was not a good surprise. I liked it, but no, I saw that coming. And okay, look, throughout this franchise, they really, I don't want to say they messed with the lore. They added stuff to the lore. They added like the kind of hells you go through and what his powers are. But the rules of the box and some of the lore they added at the beginning, they never really fucked around with that like they fucked around with it here. Like Frank and oh, the stepmom were able to come back from the box, yes. But is pretty specific on how that happened. And they couldn't talk to you from the box. And you had to spill blood where they perished. It just couldn't be anywhere like it was here. All of that was really dumb, really bad, a huge mistake, and should have been thrown out. Because screw that. Like, no, you can't be breaking lore now. All in all, though, at least it wasn't Deader. It was not as bad as Deader. God, that movie was so bad. That was 2 movies ago, and I'm still like, oh, God, Deader. So, we'll call it a D, and we'll move on. Oh, we're almost at the end. Alright. Yeah, as always, hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.